Okay, we are talking about the JgPzE100, the German Tier 10 tank destroyer. We'll cover off the consumables and equipment loadout and so on and so forth in a moment before we take it into a game or two. But before we do that, let's just take a look at the armor, and we'll talk about angling the armor and some tips for doing that. So in this scenario here, the JgPzE100 is face to face with an IS-7, and the bits in red here are the bits that the IS-7 is going to struggle to penetrate. So frontally, the JgPzE100 is relatively strong, with the exception of this lower plate. Now here, the IS-7 is angled slightly below the JgPzE100, but if they were to be level, then the front plate would be extremely difficult for the IS-7 to penetrate. So that's one thing we talk about when angling the armor. The other is turning the tank. And as we angle to the IS-7 here, the front plate becomes bright red, and the side of the tank is also red, meaning the IS-7 is going to have a very bad day. The problem is, though, if you over angle, the sides of the tank become exposed, and you can then be penetrated. So, how do you avoid over angling? Well, the tip I would give you is to offer the enemy tank's gun a corner of your JgPzE100. So here, the gun of the IS-7 is the center of the screen, and if you keep an eye on the center of the screen, once the corner of the JgPzE100, be that this corner here, albeit slightly rounded, or the corner of the turret here is offered to the gun of the IS-7, then we have a pretty good angle that makes it very, very difficult for the IS-7's gun to be effective. So there's a little tip for you. Try that to see if that works for you. Now let's take a look at the tank loadout that I run with this. So here we are back in the garage. Consumable wise, I am running a multi-purpose repair kit. And the reason I have the multi-purpose repair kit is because I run the tungsten, which increases the average damage of the tank, and adrenaline. And I run these two in tandem because the purpose of the tank destroyer is to inflict maximum damage on the enemy. So increasing the lethality of the tank by running tungsten in combination with adrenaline is the best way to do that. Of course, you run the risk of being perma-tracked or being set on fire, but that's just the way it goes, I'm afraid. Pretty standard for me on German tanks. Double chocolate, maximizing the crew skills. German tanks love chocolate by the looks of it. And the enhanced fuel to give me the maximum engine power in order to get from A to B. Mix of ammunition, 12, 6 and 6. And then in terms of equipment, this is how I run it. Gun rammer to maximize that reload time to try and deliver as many rounds as possible. Running this for that 20% to track durability, because I've only got the multi-purpose repair kit. Track damage is something I need to be cautious of. Camouflage net because it's a tank destroyer, not just because it's going to be sat at the back, but there's no point running the spotting. Improved optics, because there should be other tanks in your team in front of you anyway that will spot the tanks for you. Enhanced gun laying drive, again, maximize the gun. Enhanced armor, this thing is already pretty strong anyway, but if you add an extra 3% to the hull and turret armor, you are increasing the chances of getting a bounce. Turn rate's important in a tank destroyer, particularly towards the end of a game where you might be faced off with a medium tank trying to give you some trouble. So the ability to traverse the tank is important, especially as it doesn't have a turret. Vertical stabilizer, get the aiming time down. Need to protect those tracks as much as possible. And then we want to be able to use our consumables as much as possible during the game so we can maximize the lethality of the tank. So that is the loadout that I am running. Let's get this into a game and see whether or not it works. Okay, let's go. Now, this map does offer us the opportunity to spend a little bit of time at the back. So let's do that to start with. You don't have to necessarily in this tank because it is quite heavily armoured, especially at the front, so you can push it forward. But there's plenty of opportunity on this map for long range fires. Don't ask me what is going on with that dude. Let's hit the tungsten. And then we need to move because we've been spotted. Tungsten there for 700. There we are. Lovely gun. It's a German tank. Of course, the gun is excellent. I've also moved because that heavy tank there is going to be a bullet magnet. And they are going to spot and shoot him, and therefore probably hit me. There's a TD back here somewhere. I get up here. There we go. So look over this side. Okay, this guy is obsessed with my positioning. There we go, we're waiting for that 183 to be spotted. There he is. Now we can cross the gap here. He has moved from the corner. Okay, it's not particularly fastest, but it's also not slow. Put it against these mediums and lights and see what happens. Well, I don't know where they've disappeared to. I am spotted. They're probably through here. Yes, there he is. Traverse. Tungsten. 900. The angle, and if you want to drive in front of my gun, sir, I'm very happy. So that at least showcased the gun, absolutely superb, and the benefits of adrenaline and tungsten in tandem. And we got a bounce at the end there as well, because that light tank shot the corner of our turret. Also showed you that you don't have to sit at the back and camp with this particular tank, especially if there's a heavy tank on your team who's going to do that for you. So let's take it into another battle and see how we get on. Okay, here we go again. Once more, I am not going to be camping at the back very much. It's quite intimidating for the team. They come around a corner and they've got a JgPzE100 sat in their face. They know they're in trouble. So pushing this forward. does have its risks, but it also has its advantages. Let's push through here because we're going to get a shot from the side if we don't. Let's see if we can tungsten this 005. Here we can for 800. Pop some adrenaline. Then we've got the corner there of the turret to the 114. That's what I'm trying to do. There's another bounce because he's interested. And he can take that from the German gun again. Superb. I've also got the advantage of these two heavy tanks in front of me. I'm using them as meat shields, I'm not going to lie. That heavy tank in there has been taken care of. Or at least I'm expecting my team to take care of that dude. Going to 10 enough for us to get the shot away. Okay, we should be able to HE this dude. We do. Tickled him in the rear. And again, we're going to push forward. We're not going to wait around. We've still got all of our hit points left. We know the light tanks are over the far side, and I've seen. Oh, it's the Waffen. I'm not going to capture a base. That's not going to help me. Let's see if we can get near this Waffen and see what damage it can do to us. We'll put ourselves in his face. Oh, he's not. In fact, he's not going to have long left, is he? Okay. There's a nice little bounce. That's tungsten. Oh, it's a light tank. That's the most ridiculous HE shot I've ever seen. He tried to pen the front of our turret gun mantlet area. It's just not going to happen. And we are not going to get any more joy out of this because we're going to win on points. And that one didn't register. That's because time was up, but there we go. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of what this tank is all about. The damage wasn't great there, but we blocked 1,260 and got 3 kills. If that was helpful, then let me know in the comments.